right, this is my daily update from my build and public log. It's February 18th, 2025. I have a lot to cover in today's video, a few important announcements, um, not too much to demote. So bear with me. And I have a funny story at the end, if you stick around to the end. First of all, I am going to start a big freelance project like tomorrow. Like basically tomorrow, a little bit tomorrow, but really more. I'm kind of ramping up this week, and starting next week. So next Monday, like 9 a.m. kind of thing. Most of my work, most of my time will be going to this big freelance project. With that said, I need to be very strategic about what I'm going to actually work on. I need to be very prepared. I'll have very little time per day now to work on my projects. And what I've been doing is kind of like a 2 days, well, at least the last couple of weeks, I've been doing kind of 2 days, one project, 2 days on the other project, or maybe a few days, maybe 3 days. I'm kind of bouncing all over the place. Y'all, I can't do this anymore. I have to just pick one thing, and that's going to be my focus. But with that said, I really want to keep the ball rolling on these two projects. I really think I'm on to something. I don't know, you tell me, please. If you don't think I'm on to something, for the love of God, please tell me so I can not waste my time and money. With that said, I'm going to look to hire someone in a couple of weeks to help me out. So, not full-time, but freelance. More on this to come. Just more on this to come. I need to give it a few weeks. See how it goes with the new gig because, God, who knows? Maybe it won't work out. I mean, I'm feeling very optimistic. The project I'm starting in on is really in my wheelhouse. It's all things I've used for a couple of years now, like stacks technology. I'm not too worried about the project, to be honest. But maybe it won't be a good fit. Maybe they won't like me. I don't know. It's up to the customer. Maybe the customer won't like my beautiful face. Who the hell knows? These days, people are crazy picky, especially with freelancers. If someone doesn't like anything about you, it's like, next, there's 10 people waiting to take your place. So it's a pretty tough market these days, but I'm optimistic. I think it will go well. I actually have a good feeling about it. I think it's going to go well. But I'll give it a few weeks before starting that process of hiring. So with that said, what am I going to be spending a lot of my time on this next kind of several days or weeks? Getting documentation in place, getting the code in a better place so where I can onboard someone. Because what I really want the most is someone to help me build the agents. So I have a list of agents I want to try to build. I built 2. I would like to launch with at least 5 and then go from there and tweak things and iterate on the ones that exist. But I would like to keep the ball moving with building agents. So ideally, I want to find someone who will help me do that piece. Clear documentation on how to build an agent in the framework that I've built. Pull that into the framework, run it, test it, see how it shakes out, and go from there. So that's what I'd be looking for. But more to come. Like I said, just one step at a time. But for today and probably tomorrow, I'll start on the documentation stuff. This weekend, I am going to focus heavily on adding, first of all, doing the data modeling for users. So like, hey, you're a user, you're paid, here's your API key, so I can, verify your request. I don't know if I'll do user permission stuff just yet, but I'll build it in a way where I can easily add. Ideally, I would like companies to use this. So there would be like the admin. So think the CTO or the person responsible, like the IT person responsible for, purchasing this and managing your company's account. And then there would be users maybe that don't have quite all the access. They could just, implement. I don't know. but I need to build it in a way that could support scaling up like that. I don't want to do too much of that, but build it in a smart way where you can do that kind of stuff easily. I have these are my last 2 full days to work, so I need to speed ahead and get this working. More to come. Oh, and by the way, I will be using Clerk for this. I need to move fast. I need something that just works, and I don't have a lot of time to fiddle around with all stuff. Yeah, it could get expensive, but I'm going with Clerk. I'm familiar with it. I know what it's capable of. I know some of the pros and cons. And let's be honest, there's not going to be 10,000 users anytime soon. I will happily be over here in the free section for a while. And even if I had to pay $25 a month, that's a good problem to have. So that's what I'm doing today and tomorrow. I've already started working on this. Yeah, let's see how it goes. I'm excited for the freelance project. It seems like a good group of people, and I'll still do the videos. I will still do the videos, but it's vital that I get this whole process streamlined and quicker because it's taken me quite a while to do all this work. So, anyways, no comments for today. Please, 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 if you can spare just a moment, let me know what you think. Do you think I'm on to something with these two projects? Should I continue working? Which one should I focus on? Let me know your thoughts. The two projects are an AI virtual assistant. I am going to try to replicate as much as possible an assistant, a buddy, someone there to help you. You'll be able to do all sorts of things, look up live data. Think ChatGPT, but on steroids. Like you can talk to ChatGPT, you can talk to other models and talk about more risque stuff that you can't talk about because of like guardrails and stuff. You can look up live information that in a way that ChatGPT doesn't quite support yet. You can run agents, you can schedule things, schedule meetings, but you'll be able to do a lot of stuff moving forward once I get all this in place. You'll be able to chat with it, email it. Hey, here's a big email thread. Catch me up on this, summarize this. But I have a whole roadmap of what I want this thing to do. So in the future, it's going to be like a literal virtual assistant, like someone you have hired, like in another country that's remote that helps you do all these tasks. So I'm going to try to replicate that slowly as much as I possibly can. That's idea number one. Idea number two is an API agent API service. So you have all these agents. You can call it programmatically, drop a couple lines of code in your project or code base, and call an agent to do a very specific task, get the data back. And that is like a real battle tested with like actual unit tests and benchmarking tests. Would take you quite a while to do yourself and set up. So it's just going to be, oh, you know what? Okay, a developer can spend weeks or maybe a month building this agent, or we just use this thing and pay $20 a month. That's kind of the philosophy. The math checks out when you look at it that way. Okay, it'll take a developer at least a week, maybe two. Okay, what is the developer's cost to do that and pull them away for this one little thing that we could just call an API. Those are the two ideas. So please let me know in the comments. It helps a lot, and I'm dying for good feedback. Okay, so with that said, on to my random story for today. My family I had some family over, and we were talking about tattoos, and we got it came up this guy, I won't name any names, but this guy I used to work with, he was covered in tattoos. He was and at that time, it was a little unusual to see, to work with people with, like in an office with so many tattoos. Now it's a little bit more chill, but like at this time in this city, that was, someone like that really stood out. Wasn't quite as common. This was quite a while ago, by the way. This was my very first office job, and I sat next to this guy, who had all these tattoos and stuff. And he was like an edgy kind of guy. He was a bit out there, He was cool with me. I actually liked the guy. I had no hate against the guy. I actually liked him. He was kind of funny. Um, but he was a bit out there. So here's what happened here with this guy. Apparently, he like fell in love with this woman in another state. So here in the U.S., obviously, and he wanted to go like move, get out of the city, work remotely, and go work for the same company remotely over there with his girlfriend or whatever. And at this time, not only was it kind of unusual to have like a guy, with sleeve tattoos, covered in tattoos, the remote thing was not quite as popular. This was the 2000s, so this was kind of it was a little different. Way, I mean, long before COVID. Do you know what I mean? Um, and they were like, no, we don't really do the remote thing. We don't really have the culture. We don't have that set up. We don't know. We're kind of on the fence, maybe. He had a house, he had a car, he had a job, he had a life here, and he couldn't just quite pack up and go. This was about the time the housing crisis happened, like the big financial crash. And I think that had to do with what happened next. I don't know. I don't know the guy, and I didn't really see him too much after all this happened. There was this big scandal. He claimed that so his entire house and his car burnt down, and this guy claimed that he he claimed that someone broke into his house in the middle of the night, beat him up, attacked him, burnt, set his house on fire, and he crawled out and got out of there, and in the nick of time, it almost died. And then the police and the fire came and everything. And so I sat right next to this guy, and it was like like cubicles, but without the walls. Like imagine a cubicle, but it's like flat. So I could just look right over at the guy, and there's no walls or anything. So I would hear him, and all these people kept coming up to us. It was so distracting. I couldn't get any work done. All these people kept coming up to him. What happened? What happened? And I noticed something right away because I was very nosy. And that's why I'm like, this is some serious shit. What is going on with this guy? Something just is not adding up here. And so I kept hearing him tell the story, and it started to drift, and the story started to change. And I was like, I think something's really fishy here. I could tell something was up with this whole story. And he had all these tattoos that I couldn't help but notice conveniently. The burns that he had were not very severe, and they seemed to be kind of blank spots around his tattoos. And I was like, something's fucky here. Like, what's going on with this guy? And so I became suspicious of this guy. And one day, I'll never forget, I found out, there was an office drama, of course. I found out that the police were really starting to look into him. And that they were starting to really suspect it was arson and insurance fraud. And I'll never forget one day I looked over at him, and on his computer, on his work computer, at the office in the middle of the day, I swear to God, I'm not making this stuff up. I saw he was looking at antipolygraph.com or something like this. It was like how to beat a polygraph test, the lie detector test. And he looked over, he glanced over at me, and I pretended, to be not looking at his screen and working, pretended to be typing and working, coding. And I was like, holy shit, this guy is fucking lying. He burnt his own house and car down. I mean a huge shit show, like a car exploding in the driveway or the garage, house burnt down. I mean, like, this was pretty serious. This was in the local news and everything. I mean, when it happened, it wasn't like a big drama in the news, but that night that it happened, this was like on the news. And I was like, and I just kept hearing the guy's story change, and, just the whole thing. This was sounding so absurd. I was like, this fucking dude, he burnt his whole house down. He's going to goddamn jail. And he left, and they let him go work remote because they were like, well, you don't have anywhere to live. We feel bad. You're going through all this tough time. Yeah, go stay with your girlfriend in the other state and work remotely. They let him because he had nowhere to live. And sure enough, and he just disappeared. And sure enough, he went to prison, like serious prison for like a long time. I don't even know. I think he went to prison for like more than a decade or something crazy. Pretty wild. And never talked to the guy again. And just I don't know, we started talking about people having sleep tattoos, and I don't know, we just got on this guy because one family member knew him as well. So, anyways, we started talking about this and made me brought it up. Remember so and so. Kids don't commit insurance fraud. Like seriously, they're not stupid. They're gonna figure this out. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. I don't know what happened to the guy. I think he got out and he kind of does freelance stuff. I think he's still like a developer, but that's no joke. Doing like going to like legit American prison for a decade is pretty serious. I wonder what happened that led him down that path, but. All right, that's all I got for today. I need to get to it here. And yeah, I'll keep you posted on how when that dashboard is up. Because when the dashboard comes up, and you can log in and actually have an account, I'll probably set Agents Code live. But more to come. See you tomorrow.